Let's see here. Race Spec. See if we can't find it. It shouldn't be too far away. Hopefully. Good to see the Open Tier 1 series is up and running. And there's the Elite. Good, good, good. Stream's up, the chat's up. Everything is running as it should be. So, hello everyone and welcome to round 2 of the PlayStation Pacific Elite series here on Race Spec Esports. We are back and we're racing at Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya for the Spanish Grand Prix. It's a 4.66 kilometer, 16 turn circuit that, in the recent past here on Race Spec, has demonstrated that it's capable of generating interesting races, regardless if it is in dry or wet weather conditions. That was proven in Pacific Tier 1 and also the American series that I commentated. They were both fantastic races. It's a tough track though. There are several areas where the drivers can be caught out and sent into the shadow realm. Several areas such as the tall inside curbs of turns 2 and 11, as well as the uphill right-hander of turn 9. Those places have been the scene of many accidents in recent times. The track is well known for its difficult to follow nature due to the dirty air made in the high-speed bends. Naturally, it makes the circuit a difficult one to make moves on, but if drivers remain close, they can try overtaking with the assistance of DRS into the heavy braking zones at turn 1 and the now non-existent hairpin of turn 10. Now, a bit of news from that fantastic race in Silverstone that we had last week. There were a couple of incident reports that were reported. The first of which was between Gilles and Ferrari Pro, where there was a collision and Gilles was given a 5-second time penalty. The stewards had deemed that Gilles wasn't at fault, so the penalty was removed. There was also an incident between GeForce Zach and Black Moon 14, both of which are driving today. There was a collision between the two, but the stewards deemed that the collision was caused due to lag/desync, which is a problem in this game that people have noticed. So the stewards have deemed no further action. There was one that did come up with a verdict that wasn't no further action, and that was an incident between Leo and Gilles. According to the report, Leo had paused the game to let his AI take control during a safety car period. And while the car was paused, Gilles managed to severely collide with that car. Well, that's what the game thinks anyway, and it gave Gilles a penalty. Because of Leo going into AI, he violated rules, quote, 3.73 and 3.41, or rather 3.7.3 and 3.4.1 of the Race Spec racing rules. As a result, Leo was given a 5-second penalty and 1 penalty point. And there was an incident that we actually caught on stream that was reported. It was the final safety car restart. The drivers involved were Plebs and ACW, and we were riding on board with Plebs at the time, going through the Vale chicane. And after the restart, I didn't really think anything of it. I thought ACW actually restarted quite well and bolted away, and Plebs got a bit of wheel spin coming out of the chicane, which cost him time. However, Plebs believe that ACW slowed down at some point too ferociously, which cost him quite a bit. The stewards disagreed, though, and there was no further action after the protest. There was also, let's see here, Plebs wanting to get a warning removal, which you are able to do here on Race Spec. But he had a corner cut at Chapel, if I'm not mistaken, and the stewards deemed that there wasn't enough information to try and remove the warning, so there was no further action applied. As well as an incident between Jamie and Roscoe. A fairly tight incident, drivers going side by side. But seems that the stewards came up with a no further action verdict between those two. But I believe that is everything out of the way in terms of what happened from last week. Few penalties added on, a few penalties taken away. But nothing major in the sense of things. Now we can focus on qualifying itself. At the moment, Oz Formula is sitting at the top of the table with a 1 minute 15.527. Ooh, as Keeg invalidates there. What's that? Turn number 80 invalidated at. By contrast, finished second in Silverstone, had a terrific scrap with Oz Formula towards the end of the race. It was fantastic to watch. Oz Formula ended up taking the win. ACW, who is currently 15th on a flying lap, as contrast almost loses it there. He finished in third on the last place on the podium. Coming around the non-existent turns 10 and 11. As many of the viewers know, that part of the track was re-profiled earlier in the year. But of course, in the midst of this COVID crisis, Codemasters haven't been able to update the racetrack. So we're still stuck with the old turns 10 and 11. I contrast crosses the line, setting a 1:15.791. Not a bad lap time there at all. Tell you what, we'll go with Roscoe Arm, give you a guided tour of the racetrack. Exiting the chicane, coming around the final turn. Onto the pit straight, DRS open, and here we go. Now it's a long run to turn 1. Probably the most prominent overtaking spot on the racetrack. Moves to the left a little bit, brakes before the 50, fourth gear, through turn 2, and that irritating inside curve. They can spin you out, I've seen it happen before, and I've done it myself. Exiting turn 3 into turn 4. Fourth gear, gets onto the grass there on the inside. Probably less than ideal, using all the track on the left-hand side. Into the hairpin of turn 5. Short shifts to 4th on the exit to maximise traction. Through the kink of 6. Into turn 7 and 8. As ACW jumps to the top of the table. Around turn 9, 7th gear. Holding it as flat as he dares, spinning into the barrier. He's out. He's out of qualifying. A massive shunt with the barrier, just asking too much of the car there. And a big spin there, straight into the barrier. I believe G-Force Zach is going to finish a lap. No, he's beginning one. Okay. Oh! Did I just witness this? His car just exploded. He's out. What? What? Why did that happen? His car imploded. He hit nothing. It just broke. What? Okay. Okay. I'm lost from that. His car just exploded on the pit straight. It hit nothing. It just exploded. It had a catastrophic failure. Man. And there's a Mercedes off. That's key. He's had a moment at turn 3. Ferrari Pro on a flying lap. Going through the section where Roscoe up. There's a soft tyre still sitting on the circuit. Excuse me, you see that? There's a soft tyre still there. Look, it's right there. I can see it. Look. What? What? Oh my. goodness. What is going on? Why? What? Look at it. There's a Pirelli soft tyre next to the racing line. I hope I'm the only person who can see this. I would hate to be a driver and just see a soft tyre just sitting there. It'd be so distracting. Oz Formula, he comes around the final corner. Will he jump to pole position? Yes, he will. And by a bit of a margin as well, with a 1 minute 14.859. Hell, oh my goodness, we just caught that. Hillers is out. He's smacked his rear left wheel off the car. What a magnificent bit of timing that was. That was only luck that I managed to catch this. But the McLaren, who was third, is now out. And we're only at the halfway mark. Oh, okay. Sure, yeah, why not? Drama, a lot of drama going on. I reckon Ferrari Pro is having another crack of a flying lap here. Keeg Dog crashing out, that's at turn 9. He's out of qualifying now. That's 4 retirements. This doesn't look well for the race, does it? What is going on? Oh, it might be close. Let's have a look. Yeah, look, there he is there. And there's the Pirelli tyre. It's still there. It hasn't moved. What is this? Ferrari Pro up by 1/10 of a second. He's invalidated at turn 7. Plebs, what are you up to? He's currently on a flying lap. Let's ride on board with Mr. Race Spec. Maybe we can actually have a proper look at the circuit now. There's all the drama out of the way, for qualifying at least. Through turn 4, maximising the width on the exit, as to carry as much speed as possible. Through turn 5, second gear, short shifting to third. Fourth gear, fifth gear, round the kink of turn 6. Now into turn 7 and 8. Fourth gear, modulates the throttle nicely. Remember, these guys aren't using any assists. This is fairly bare-bones stuff. That's fairly nice through turn 9. Hello, Pirelli soft tyre. Into the hairpin of turn 10. Shifts down to second gear. Short shifts to third as to maximise traction through turns 11 and 12. The Red Bull in front. Isaac gets out of the way. Very good. Through 13. Now the chicane. Turns 14. 15. And then the final corner, the flat-out right-hander of turn 16, opens DRS up to the line. Plebs improves by 3/10, goes 5th quickest with a 1 minute 15.512. ACW. Currently sitting P3. Look at that, it's a podium from Silverstone. Oz Formula from iContrast and ACW. ACW up by 400ths in the first sector. Ooh. Just heard a light bulb almost go out in my room. Dear me. Scare me. Through turns 7 and 8. Up the hill towards 9. And slight lift off the throttle. Doesn't touch the brake though. Alright, sector 2 says up by 600ths of a second. It's not a big improvement, but it's an improvement. And he's purple to the second sector as well. Now the tight and twisty third sector runs wide on the exit of 12 though. Easy to do. There's a lot of curb on the outside of turn 12. It sort of sucks you in. It tempts you to use all of it. Use too much though and you invalidate, just as ACW demonstrated. Parasite on a flying lap has only improved by 1,000th of a second in the first sector, but an improvement's an improvement and he almost lost it there. And I reckon the other drivers can see that tyre too, because Parasite just drove around that thing. Oh, bit of a moment out of the hairpin. It's on the gas. It's through 13. Now this flow destroying exercise that is that chicane. Exits the final turn onto the pit straight. Improves by just over a tenth. 13th fastest overall. My goodness. Anthro, you're there. Black Moon, you're starting your flying lap with 3 minutes left in the session. Barreling down towards turns 1 and 2. 320 kilometers an hour on entry. Slams on the brakes, third gear. Fourth gear through turn 2, then fifth gear. Then flat out through turn 3. Now towards turn 4. Brings it back down to fourth gear. Modulates the throttle. No curb on the exit there. Keeps it within the white lines. Nice and tidy so far. Mr. Martin bringing out yellow flags in the third sector. Oh, a bit squirrely through 7 and 8. How much has that hurt Black Moon? Let's see. Sector 2 says down by just over a tenth. Let's see here. Top guys about to start their final flying laps. High Contrast, I believe, is one of them. Right now. Towards turn 1. Shifts down, fourth gear. Keeps it in fourth through turn 2. Fifth gear, sixth gear. Gets it into seventh. Takes a very narrow exit to minimize distance into turn 4. Keeps it in fifth gear, interesting. Tend to see drivers drop it down into fourth gear. Into turn 5, second. Revs it out a second. He does it short shift. Very interesting. He's got that good throttle control. Doesn't need to short shift. Through turn 9. Keeps it. Ooh! Jamie is out for the session. He's retired in the pits. He hasn't had an incident on track. Leo has jumped up to third place with a 15.2. Around turn 12. Whereabouts is Oz Formula? He's in the first sector. Or rather, in the second sector. He's just completed the first. Exiting the chicane around the final corner. High Contrast will open DRS, cross the line to set a 1 minute 14.962. It's not enough to claim pole as Oz Formula crashes out at turn 9. And Alfa Romeo has spun. That's Nick. He's had a moment. But Oz Formula's gone straight on. Look at that. He went straight on. Stewards might have a look at that. See what's what in regards to that. Plebs, you're on a flying lap. Is that? You're on a flying lap. Is ACW on one too? We'll find out in a moment. Into the chicane now. For the final time in qualifying. Really jumps over the curb there at turn 15. Around the final curve. DRS open up to the line. Is that? It's P3 for now. What about ACW? He's coming up to the line. He takes P3 with a 15.1. Beating is that by a tenth of a second. Ferrari Pro jumps up to P6 with a 15.4. Can Plebs jump up any places here? We'll be waiting on Pump and Anthro. Anthro's finished actually, so we'll just be waiting on Pump. Through the chicane. Invalidates. Cutting too much there. Be angry with himself. Let's see what he would have set. 15.219. That would have jumped him up to fourth place. He would have started on the second row if he didn't cut as much as he did at the chicane. And Pump has invalidated, so his qualifying session is over. It's Oz Formula, the race winner from Silverstone, on pole position with a 1 minute 14.859. And everyone inside the top 10 did their times on the soft tyre. There we are, qualifying over. Oh, there we go. Thank you, game, for not spending too much time putting the car back into the pits. Oh, right. So there we are. Oz Formula on pole. I Contrast second. ACW third. Is at fourth. Leo in P5. Ferrari Pro P6. Plev seventh. Hillers in P8. Pump P9. And Nick rounds out the top 10. All of them will be starting on scrubbed soft compound tyres, of course, if it's a dry start. I haven't been given any information if it's going to be a wet start or not. Smokegrass P11, Black Moon 12th, Anthro 13th, Powerside 14th, The Rock 15th, Keegan 16th, Jamie 17th, Zach in 18th, then Roscoe Arm. We'll start from the back of the field in 19th place after crashing out very early on in qualifying. Well, that was a bit dramatic, wasn't it? Very strange stuff going on. Very strange. Especially Zach's one. I don't quite understand how that car exploded like that. And there we are. It's an intermediate start. That explains why not a lot of drivers went onto the medium tyre to try and set times. There was no point. There was a wet weather start to this one. But it's only intermediate conditions. It's definitely not full wet. And who knows, it might dry up towards the end of the race. That will really spice things up, which will actually make it 3 races from 3 where we've had mixed weather conditions that I've commentated for Race Spec. Tier 1 was like this, America Series was like this, and now Elite Series. Guess we're just destined to have a wet weather race here. Drivers are lined up and ready to go. Everyone will be starting on the same tyre, I imagine. Yeah, everyone on the same tyre, so we won't need that for the start. We'll have position change up instead. But we know the order. Now, drivers... In wet conditions, it's fairly interesting to watch drivers in wet conditions. Because naturally, when the wet weather comes about, you think that drivers are going to create more accidents because it's more difficult to drive in these conditions. Over my time as a commentator, though, I've noticed that in these wet weather conditions, you see less accidents because, oh my goodness, that's someone off in the background. That was Zach spinning off there on the formation lap. Oh my goodness. How about that? Drama on the formation lap. But as I was saying, typically during a race, when it's wet weather conditions like this, because everyone understands that it's more difficult to drive in these conditions, people sort of put themselves into a little cocoon. A safety cocoon where they don't attack anybody, they don't overdrive the car. You know, they try and get through the wet weather conditions, and if it dries up, then they start to push. And that's when the accidents happen. So I wouldn't be surprised if we didn't see any incidents at all in these conditions. But if it does dry up, and I reckon it will, because it's very light at the moment, and there's bits and pieces of blue I can see. If it dries up, then we'll start seeing incidents, because drivers will start to, you know, overdrive their car. But anyway, leaders now coming back onto the pit straight. Just be waiting on Roscoe Arm to line up into his grid slot. And we can get this 33 lap race here at Barcelona underway. Now, Pacific Tier 1 and the America Series provided very interesting racing. Hopefully, we'll see an interesting race here in the Elite Series as well. Everyone's lined up and ready to run here. Just be waiting on the game to save. When is the game saving? Oh, something's happened. Oh, here we go. We have 5 red lights. And it's lights out and away we go. Oz Formula converts really well off the line. So does Isaac Kush. He looks to the inside. Oh my goodness, what is with this? Oh my goodness, there was a lot of rain there. But what a start from Oz Formula. They go 3 wide into turn 1. Look at that. They go through turn 2. Nothing major. McLaren off the racetrack. That was Gilles just guiding himself off the circuit there. He's lost a few places. It's 3 wide going through turn 3. Heading towards fall now. They're still 3 wide. Oh, and the McLaren of Gilles looks down the inside but can't make any moves stick. I've noticed this. Oh my goodness me. In previous races here at Spain, when it rains, the camera for some reason gets these rain droplets on the face of it. And it distracts your view. ACW, massive tank slapper there. But he catches it well. Through turn 9. Onto the back straightaway of sorts. Towards the hairpin. Turn 10. Ooh. ACW Smokegrass side by side. ACW maintains P7. But Smokegrass, a good start from him, up 8 positions. Good start from Jamie 2, up 5. Worst starters, ACW down 4, and Gilles down 6. He's down in 14th place. Apparently a lap down, according to the leaderboard. That's definitely not the case. This is quite typical, the lap 2 glitch. Don't worry, the intervals will sort themselves out soon, hopefully. And everyone's behaving themselves for now. Nothing major to report, though. Something's happened to... What the... Alright, so there might be a connection issue on Zach's end, potentially. Haha, who's this? This is Jamie, running with no helmet. Another neat glitch that this game has. Reviving some 1950s Grand Prix racing, where they only wore leather caps. You see him there only wearing the balaclava. Not sure if the leaderboard had sorted itself out just yet. I think it just might have. Sort of, kind of. Tell you what, we'll remove it for now. We'll just have the position change up for now. Makes the leaderboard a bit smaller, so you can see more action on the track. You can see this colossally big train in the midfield. Quite typical to see. Isaac Kush setting a fastest lap. Isaac is quite the master in these mixed conditions. The Pacific Tier 1 race saw a superb drive from Isaac, as well as G-Force Crichton. They were standouts during that race. They just drove away from the field. They were in a class of their own. Isaacs now demonstrating their prowess. Once again, hunting down Oz Formula at the front of the field. Everyone's behaving themselves. The rain is still trickling down. Nothing major to report, which is good. 2 Haas's fairly close to one another. But you'll see the drivers just not really wanting it to attack one another. Not just yet. Through the tight third sector. Is that trying to close the gap? Leo currently in P3. He's got eye contrast right behind. And Plebs in P5. Ferrari Pro in P6, a little ways behind the McLaren. Now, let's see if the intervals are up and working again. They're definitely not working. Oh my goodness. Look at that. Oh, maybe they'll start to work now. Yeah, there we go. Tell you what, we might remove the detail. There we go. Because unfortunately the leaderboard is quite big. And it takes up a lot of the screen. I just want to try and minimize that as much as I can. And we all know they're on the intermediate tyre. so don't necessarily need the tyre graphic up. Not quite just yet anyway. Is that maintaining that 1 second margin to Oz Formula? Oz Formula not buckling under the pressure, maintaining good speed, and that is a Haas. Roscoe has spun round at turn 5. He loses a whole bunch of time. Look at these guys. They're so close to one another, but they just aren't able to attack just yet. Locking up into turn 10 is Black Moon. Almost collects his teammate. In fact, that gap has opened up quite a bit between Izzat and Oz Formula. It was 1 second. It opened up to as much as 1.4. Hilles has made a move on pump. He's into 12th. You can see, while riding on board with contrast, that the spray isn't too bad an issue. Not in these conditions, you can see quite well. Oh, and Leo, a big moment there, entering turn 3. They're side by side, heading towards turn 4. They're still side by side, coming around the curve, but by contrast with the inside line, makes the move stick. He's into P3 and another big wiggle there at the exit of the corner for Leo. Leo, he's actually dropped back quite a bit. The gap has already increased to 1 second as he gives himself a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. Clev's in a healthy P5, same with Ferrari Pro and P6. ACW, P7. Smokegrass still hanging on to 8th. We've got the 2 Alfa Romeos next that round out the top 10. Oh, and something's happened to Nick. He's disconnected. Uh-oh. Hopefully he'll be able to rejoin soon. Otherwise he's going to lose a ton of time. The AI are quite slow. I believe they're 70 rated. I might have to double check that. Find a period in the race where not much is happening. Is that a 3-second time penalty? Now, judging by where both of them are on the circuit, Izzat has done that at the exit of turn 3, running too wide. So gathering a warning there and then copying a 3-second time penalty. Now, is Nick back in the session? No, not yet. Well, you better get back in soon. Yeah, the gaps are close. Hilles now trying to capitalise on the situation. Try and pass for 11th place. There we go, through. Through they go. As easy as you like. Jamie trying to hunt down Black Moon in P9. Gap of about 0.7 of a second. Now, Pump's getting by as well. Look at that. Was in the top 10, now and down in 13th place. Long, long way behind where they once were. And that was Roscoe bringing out a yellow flag in Sector 2. Back towards the front. Is that another 3-second time penalty? That makes it 6 now. I reckon they had half a moment through turns 2 and 3. Lost a bit of time. Well, that's big. You don't want to start getting those sort of penalties. You just start to lose so much towards the end of the race. Like, it's a fairly tight battle as it is. 1 second separates them. Those 6 seconds can completely ruin your chances of winning. Is that really needs to try and not get any more. Through the hairpin of turn 10. That gap has been fluctuating between Izzat and Oz Formula. As Nick drops down to 14th place. I'm surprised he hasn't rejoined the session yet. At least I believe he hasn't rejoined the session yet. We'll have a look in just a moment. Is that close? Can't quite get the traction through the chicane and through the final corner. Using up their battery down the pit straight. And there we go, Nick has rejoined. Good. They're back. Though they're nowhere near where they once were. Through turn 3. Gap is about 8/10. It's a nice little tussle, this is. Nice little battle. Single mistake can cost either driver dearly. Jamie now properly on the back of the Alfa Romeo of Black Moon. Ready to try and make some sort of move into the hairpin of turn 5. As, oh dear, Nick is having connection issues. Uh-oh. That's not good. That's getting a lot closer towards Formula 2. Up the hill. Around turn 9, the Rocker 3-second time penalty, multiple warnings. Onto the back straightaway towards the hairpin of turn 10. Very deep on the brakes, locking up on the way in, missing the apex, all three of them. Oh, a bit sideways on the exit. Around turn 12. Trying to hug the inside as best you can. That sets a new fastest lap with a 26.8. The smoke rust, missing the chicane completely. Here comes Black Moon. The Alfa Romeo has a run, sitting in the slipstream. Using up their battery, they're closing in. They're still closing in, looking to the inside. Can't quite commit to the move. Not enough momentum to try and slingshot down the inside. Leaves them a bit vulnerable to Jamie as they head towards turn 4. Brakes. Black Moon overshoots the corner completely, runs onto the grass a little bit, and loses 2 positions in one go. Down to 11th. Hillez now in this battle. Same with Pump in P12. They're not too far behind. Towards the front of the field. Izzat and Oz Formula. Separated by less than half a second. Izzat's now really starting to find the grip in these conditions. Got a fantastic run through the chicane. Oh, running wide on the exit though, the final corner. That might have been a warning. Using up their battery down the pit straight. Heading towards turn 1. Will they look for a move? Oz Formula half defends. Looking around the outside. Oz Formula goes very narrow through turn 1. But carries a lot of speed into 2. How is that possible? Carried a lot of speed into turn 2. And Keeg is out. There's their car. And we have a safety car. Now what has happened with Keeg? I'm going to take a guess saying they clipped that curb on the left hand side of turn 11. Spun out and hit the barrier, and they're out of the race. Seen that a few times. But this has put a brief pause on the race. Some drivers are pitting in. What's for? New enters. Whoa! Again, you see that with Zach. What's going on? Whoa! Whoa! Ah! Okay. Yeah, there's something definitely wrong here with Zach. That was scary. Okay. That's the wrong button. This one. Into the pits goes Oz Formula. Izzat follows suit. This may give a fairly good indication that it might stay intermediate conditions throughout the rest of the race. Or at least it won't go dry until the very end. Because everybody's boxing for new tyres. Everybody. Except for this guy. The McLaren will jump up to 3rd place, overtaking Eye Contrast. It's a gamble, but it might pay off. Driver formerly known as the Gaming Wafer. I didn't realise this. They actually notified me a few hours before the race that Hillers is actually the Gaming Wafer. I didn't realise he went under a name change. It's pretty cool. But it just also means that I actually know who this driver is. Not completely new, just new name. And throw up into P7, not stopping. Same with Nick. Though I think this is the AI of Nick. Not Nick. I reckon. But just about everybody else pitted for fresh intermediate tyres. Still raining. Rain is still coming down. Ugh. Right, field bunching up. Getting towards the 1/3 mark of the race. Been a fairly interesting third. We've had bit of drama here and there. Not a lot of racing, but you kind of expect that in these wet weather conditions. As I mentioned earlier, because of these wet weather conditions, people tend to drive a lot more carefully, and they don't do... I was going to say they don't do anything stupid. It's more like they don't take any risk in these sort of conditions. Now, I just want to check something. Settings. Maximum players. Can I check the AI? Time and day, rules and flags, control, on-screen, simulation settings? Yeah, I thought it was 70 AI. There we are. See, realistic, car damage standard, race starts manual, all that kind of stuff. Now, rules and flags. I believe, yes, safety car settings reduced. We still got one, which I think is quite reasonable. Fairly realistic. No, cars retired out of the race. You know, safety car comes out. So then the marshals can move the car out of the gravel trap and over the barrier. Fairly realistic. Still raining. There's still raindrops falling on the halo. Virtual Bernd Maylander. You see, Bernd Maylander, he needs no windscreen wipers. Have you noticed that? As the safety car goes in this lap, if you notice on that straight, the safety car doesn't have its wipers going. Because Bernd Maylander is a god. He needs no windscreen wipers. You can see perfectly well. But here we go. Oz Formula controls the field. When will they bolt? I assume out of here. Yep. Through the final corner. It's not a great restart because Izzat's right on his tail. Here we go. Lap 13 of 33 begins. And we got full course yellows around the racetrack. Which means Izzat won't be able to overtake. Look at that. Got full course yellows everywhere. And I think we'll see Ferrari Pro have to give up the position, which he kind of does. I thought, we have this glitch back? See, look, he had to back off. He hit the brakes then. You won't be able to overtake. You can't overtake. Ah, this was a thing back in F1 2020. It's returned. And that's Nick losing a bunch of places. I believe that's still the AI of Nick. Yeah, look, it's still the AI of Nick. Oh my goodness. Drivers try to overtake. teammate has to give up the position. Jamie gets a 5-second penalty for ignoring yellow flags. This is ridiculous. Oh, and there's something going on up here. Izzat's trying to get by. Pumps gets a 5-second penalty for ignoring yellow flag. The Rock gets a 5-second penalty for ignoring yellow flags. Hopefully this full course yellow can go away at the end of the lap. Hopefully. This has ruined some people's races here. Izzat got a phenomenal restart. Got penalised effectively by the game by not letting them overtake. And the full course yellow is still here. 5-second penalty for Black Moon. And if it goes to dry conditions, they'll have to make another pit stop. And it will be going to dry conditions. As you can see on the halo, there's no more raindrops. So those people who cop 5-second penalties because this game is broken, their races could be completely ruined. You can see the field is still incredibly bunched up. Look at this. Look at this. Could you imagine a 5-second penalty if you're back here? You could jump from the front of this train to the end of it. And look at, by contrast, he's right on the back of Hillers. Trying to find a way by. Come on. Get rid of the full course yellows game. Come on, fix yourself. Oh. Yeah, this was the thing back in F1 2020. And it's still here. It's the first time I've seen it. F1 2021. Unbelievable. Crossing the line. Anything? No, they still got full course yellows. Here comes High Contrast. He's got momentum, but he has to back off. He has no choice but to back off. I'm not sure really what the drivers could do in this scenario. And it's a pity I can't really do anything either. Ah. It's ruined the racing. Because no one's allowed to overtake. Now let's have a look. Look at that. ACW, Jamie, Pump, Rock. He has 6 seconds from... oh, his Roscoe arms out. Safety car deployed. That might just fix everything. What on board. There's his car there. Just hit that barrier hard. He's hit that barrier really hard. If he ended up that far away from the wall. I don't think he voluntarily retired either. I think he crashed. He properly crashed. Oh, I feel really sorry for those guys who got penalised like that. Staying out are the two leaders. Hillers is coming in. Roscoe Arm has left the session. Now, what does Hillers do? Drive-through penalty for Anthro. Speeding under safety car as Nick is still unable to join the session. Medium tyres going on the McLaren. A very slow exit. What's going on? 5-second penalty being served for Jamie. Oh, unlucky, mate. And it was all because of this car's AI dropping so many positions because of how slow it is. Like I showed you, it has 70 AI. So it dropped way back. And all those cars were sort of forced to pass it. But of course, you're not allowed to pass under yellow flags. So the game gave all those drivers 5-second penalties. Oh, dearie me. How is it? This bug, I believe, was fixed in F1 2020. How can it reappear? How is that possible? It's like from F1 2019 to F1 2020, some of the bugs at the beginning of F1 2019 reappeared in F1 2020. I don't get that. I honestly don't get that. How can they just reappear? Oh, it just boggles me sometimes. Oh, they were thinking about it. They were both thinking about it. When's the call? When is that call? Pumps in. See the drivers on the mediums. Jamie, Parasite, Hillers. Pumps in. He'll serve the 5 second. There we go. Tyres off. Mediums on. So no one wanting to go onto the soft tyre, which is a bit interesting. Because in these sort of conditions, you want to be on the grippiest tyre. That being the soft compound, of course. Oh! Almost crashed at pit exit. But hopefully, with Roscoe Arm's retirement, that has fixed the full course yellow bug. Hopefully. If it does, everybody who's racing will have to thank him for having that accident. And then letting these guys race. And now, everyone who's on the mediums, they do have an advantage. They're now effectively a pit stop ahead of the intermediate runners. But there is one slight hiccup, and that is the conditions. Is it dry enough to even be competitive on the slick tyre? We'll have to wait and see, as the safety car is now ducking in this lap. And if it isn't right, which I don't think it is, how long will it be until it's properly dry? That will be the big thing. Oz Formula exiting the chicane. Through the final curve. It's another good reaction from Izzat. Sitting right behind. And it's cured. The game has been cured. Unbelievable. And Anthro has just dropped a whole heap of positions. Oh, and it's returned. The full course yellow has returned. Anthro has spun out. Izzat's copped another penalty, making it 9 seconds. But Anthro's gone off, bringing out the full course yellow again. Oh, and look, Izzat's got a run, but they won't be able to do anything. Oh, this is quite frankly ridiculous now. Izzat looking left and right. They've got a run. They've got momentum. Izzat's finally got sort of the upper hand. Pace-wise at least, but they can't do a damn thing. Not a thing. Oh, that's just unbelievable. Oh, and what's going on here? Deary me, I believe that's Zach and Black Moon coming together at turn 10. And Hillers has dropped time. He's lost a fair bit. Gap has opened up to 2.1 seconds, and Oz Formula into the pits. 5 second penalty for Black Moon, ignoring yellow flag. Overtaking a lap car. I mean, half a mind to say to just straight up restart this. Because this is unraceable. Not undrivable. People can drive with these conditions. But it's unraceable. Completely unraceable. Oh dear. And is that turn a moment? They're off. That's at turn 9. Oh, don't unghost. Ooh, that was nasty. He's going to have to travel slowly enough so then the game won't give the cars any penalties. And I think Izzat understands that. They're driving very smartly. So what Izzat's doing is driving slowly enough for the game to believe that they're retiring. Or at the very least bringing out a yellow flag. And that's so then none of the drivers will cop 5-second penalties by overtaking. DRS is enabled. So Oz Formula has pitted at exactly the right time. But those who pitted under safety car, Hilles being the main one, has gotten a colossal advantage out of it. Pump is another. And look at them pour in. 5-second penalty being served. This is... It's gone! It's gone! The four-course yellow has disappeared. We've got a yellow flag in Sector 3, but that's okay. And oh my freaking goodness. Oh, it's disappeared. Oh, thank Christ. They might be allowed to race now. Oh, you have no idea, ladies and gentlemen, how much restraint I'm putting into using more colourful language. My God, do I want to use more colourful language. The whole rainbow wants to spill out of my mouth. Oh. Right. When the leaders cross the line, there'll be 13 laps to go. Hopefully, people will be allowed to race during that time. Smokegrass goes into the pit. Same with Leo, who was the leader. Hilles will now be the leader. He has Pump right behind, who sets fastest lap at 25.5. And that is a Ferrari. That is Rock off the racetrack doing a bit of rallycross. Some people may not know, the rallycross is literally there on the inside. It's actually a pretty solid rallycross course too. I like it. Leo coming out of the pits in P7 on soft tyres. Interesting. I like it. It's aggressive. I like it. Right. So, iContrust and Oz Formula have got a bit of work to do, and that is ACW. Having a moment through turn 2, losing time and positions, is now down in 11th. Leo is past Power Sight into P6. And that is a Alpine of Jamie. Having a moment at the final turn, with raindrops still on the windscreen, or rather the camera lens. So iContrust and Oz Formula have got a bit of work to do to try and catch up to Hilles and Pump 46. But knowing how quick iContrust and Oz Formula are, I don't think that's an impossible task. What may make it impossible if these two really start scrapping. Oz Formula sets a new fastest lap at 21.7. The times are set to tumble here at Barcelona. Through turn 2. Now the sweeper of turn 3. Oz Formula right behind. Sucking up all the dirty air coming off the Aston Martin in front. These two battling for position through turn 2. Smokegrass and Blue Moon through turn 3. Oh, and that's G-Force Zach is in there as well. Yeah, it is. I was trying to work out who that third person was. Yeah, it's G-Force Zach. Here comes Oz Formula, ready to battle once more. These two had a terrific scrap at Silverstone. Going to assume they're going to have another one here at Barcelona. Meanwhile, Izzat trying to make up for lost ground into P11. Closing in on the top 10. Right, yeah. Let's watch this down the pit straight away. Heading towards turn 1. Oz Formula sets fastest lap. Using DRS, using overtake. Eye contrast defends, but it doesn't matter. Down the inside, and full course yellows come out. Or did he get that just in time? I reckon he did. He's into P3, and he's not giving up the position. Oh, but a big wiggle. And here comes eye contrast. Closes in, but not by enough. But a simple overtake there. Into P3. Smokegrass, Black Moon, side by side. Heading towards turn 4. G4 Zach just watching on in the background there, enjoying the scrap. But eye contrast is not giving up. Through the technical and tight third sector. Eye contrast will be looking to return the favour, I'm sure, on Oz Formula. Oh, bit of a moment out of the chicane though. Gap increases a little bit. He has DRS and he's going to use overtake to close the gap. Still rain droplets on the camera lens. And look at the momentum that the Aston Martin has. So much quicker. 50-metre board has been destroyed as well. Remember, these guys are using absolutely no assist as Jamie cops a 3-second time penalty through turn 3. Now, hang on. Battle for, this is P8. Through goes the Alfa Romeo. Smokegrass has to give up the position as Isaac cops a 5-second penalty as they retire out of the race. Understandable, I suppose. After what has happened over the course of this, I wouldn't be a happy person either. No, these are very tricky conditions. The drivers still have those raindrops on the screen, and these aren't fully dry conditions, which means you don't have ideal traction. You have to be very careful, very mindful of what you're doing in terms of throttle input and brake input. Through the chicane. Round the final corner and onto the pit straight once again. Pump, he's a bit defenseless. He doesn't have DRS. They're heading towards turn 1. Down the inside looks Oz Formula. He commits to it and he's through into second. Eye contrast needs to move as well. He's around the outside of Pump. Looking, trying, going for it too. He's alongside. He has a nose alongside into turn 4. He keeps it there. He's fighting. Exiting the corner now towards the hairpin of turn 5. He has the inside line. Pump, he can't fight there. He relinquishes third place. And through goes Eye Contrast onto the podium. Now they need to hunt down Hillers in the McLaren. Leo now on the back of Plevs. His soft tyres faring much better in these conditions. Closing in at the hairpin. Oh, deep under brakes, overshooting the hairpin, losing time. Gap increases quite a bit, by about 3/10 or so. Outside he's got Black Moon. Closing in. Black Moon overshoots the hairpin, but he gets it done. Oh my goodness, he was so much quicker into the hairpin, and somehow he got it done. Granted, Powersight saw him coming. He didn't turn at the apex. He gave him plenty of room down the inside. But I just couldn't believe the sheer pace difference between the two cars. I was so certain that there was going to be an accident there, and somehow there wasn't. Oh, that's unbelievable. Leo doing all he can to try and move himself into 5th place. He does have penalties though, 3 seconds next to their name. Through turn 5. Oh, hang on. Hello, Smokegrass. You're right on the back of this now. And turn 5. Zach just watching on, minding his own business. That was a random Sector 3 yellow flag. There was nothing noteworthy. Oh, come on. Go away, please. Thank you. Maybe the game is listening to me. Well, okay then. Oh! Right. As Oz Formula moves into the lead, he overtakes Gilles with relative ease down the pit straight using the assistance of DRS. Right, so GeForce Zach isn't a lap down. He's just got horrible desync. iContrast went through this in F1 2020. We noticed this in the first couple of races of the season, and he had a few run-ins with a few drivers during that time. Zach is going through the exact same thing right now, because he's actually up here in this battle. I thought he was genuinely 17th. He's not. He was up here. He's actually 11th. He's in front of The Rock, and he's behind ACW. You can see the Aston Martin dot in between those two. That's where he actually is on his screen. But on my timing screen, and I reckon on everybody else's, he's 17th, one lap down. This is a desync issue in the game. F1 2020 had a similar thing. iContrast now closing in. Oz Formula setting another fastest lap as the conditions continue to improve. Here comes Plebs. Overtaking Pump 46. He moves himself into 4th place. There's not much Pump can do. Here comes Leo. Where does he... Oh, that's tight. Looking down the inside, Pump has to turn out of the corner. And through goes the Williams. Tight racing between the two there. Now iContrast. He has to move by Gilles into 2nd place. Through turn 9. DRS opens. Closes in quite a bit. Oh, look at that. So confident on the brakes. Round turn 12. It's more Sector 1 yellow flags. It's for nothing though. Now through the chicane. Gilles, he won't be able to do much. Here we go. Onto the pit straight. DRS open. Using overtake as well. Gilles doing all he can. He's saving battery. You can tell because he's flashing the light at the back of his car. He doesn't have a lot of battery left. He's used up all of it. And through goes iContrast into 3rd place. Battle isn't over for 4th though. Leo and Pleb scrapping for position. Though Leo does have a penalty next to his name. What was it? 3 seconds? 3 seconds. Right. Going to be tough for the Williams driver to come out on top in this scrap. ACW onto the back of Smokegrass. These two are looking to have a scrap. This is for position as well. As you can see, neither driver has a penalty. So this is genuine. The Rock, Jamie, 3 second time penalties each. Let's see. Leo's lost time. Those soft tyres won't feel great. They'll get to the end. I reckon they will get to the end, but they won't feel great. Gap between the front two is still 2.1, 2.2 seconds. So iContrast keeping up with the race leader, not letting them pull away. iContrast, there we go. Sets fastest lap. 17 flat. ACW and Smokegrass. ACW's through. He did that round the outside of turn 11. That's a good move. That's a really good move. Well done. Zach, another 3 second time penalty. Zach is behind Power Sight. So P11. And that gap is closing. My God, that gap is closing. Now 1.7, 1.6. Battle between the front two might not be over. I thought Oz Formula might be able to pull away. I might be wrong. Gap is now 1.5. Ferrari Pro being overtaken by... Sorry, rather, Ferrari Pro overtaking Nick for 13th. For 12th. Putting Nick into 13th. Oh, God. Gap's still about 1.5 between P1 and 2. Through the wretched chicane. I do hate this chicane. Probably my least favourite chicane in the world. Both drivers doing all they can. Driving as fast as they possibly can. High contrast. He just has a little bit more pace. Not a lot more. Just a little bit. Ford's formula, he desperately needs to keep the gap over 1 second. If it's under a second, even with a lap to go, that gap can shrink quite a bit with the power of DRS. Ideally for high contrast, he needs to be within 1 second by the end of this lap. That way, oh dear, that way he can use DRS down the pit straight. But the gap is still at 1.5 seconds, and Gilles hasn't really fallen away. Doing a great job in 3rd place. Though that time penalty next to their name might take him off the podium, but he'll be replaced by his teammate Plevs, making it a really solid day for McLaren. Gap still 1.5, heading onto the pit straight. It's lap 32 of 33. It's 2 laps to go. Through turn 2. Then turn 3. Both drivers doing all they can. Not quite close enough. He can see him, he knows he's right there. And that's Leo. He is spun. That's at turn 4. He's lost a whole bunch of time. He's got a puncture, that's why. Look, the front left tyre, punctured. Ah, I thought those tyres would make it. Obviously not. He's done 10 laps? Really? That's nothing. I've seen drivers do 12 laps on these things. I guess maybe that's a RNG for you. As soon as they hit about 70%... Oh, don't unghost, don't unghost. Oh, that was... Oh, goes off the road there. Big tank slapper. He needs to finish in the top 15 in order to score something. Oh, really? He was given a warning for that game? Seriously? Really? God. Leaders are on their final lap. The gap has increased to 2 seconds. This formula driving very well out in front. Needs to make sure they don't get a penalty. See the positions gained for everybody. Hiller's up 5, Plevs up 3, Pump up 4. We can see the drivers who qualified 1st and 2nd, the 1st and 2nd on track. It is a repeat performance from Silverstone. Oz Formula, he will negotiate the chicane for the final time. He'll come around the final curve. Onto the pit straight, he will cross the line to win the Spanish Grand Prix. With eye contrast in 2nd place. Gilles will cross the line in 3rd, but it will go to Plevs, his teammate. A really solid day for the McLaren team. Pump, will he finish P5? He will. He'll be very happy with that performance, making it a 3-4 for McLaren. And ACW has made his way back up to P6. A great recovery. Black Moon, a very solid drive. P7 for now. Will he stay there? Yes, he shall, by 0.6 of a second to Smokegrass. The Rock crosses the line 9th. Parasite will overtake him for 9th. Rock drops down to 10th and stays there. Ferrari Pro finishes P11. Oh, and something's happened here. Anthro and, of course, Leo. Nick crosses the line. Well, Nick's AI crosses the line 12th. There's Jamie. Hello, Jamie. Anthro P13. Leo making the best of what must be a fairly rough situation. He was on for... Yeah. I understand that. He was on for a really good finish, and the game, I think, really screwed him over. Because I've seen drivers do 12, 13 laps on the soft tyre around here. No trouble. He did 10 laps. He got a puncture. Well, there we are. And we're going to have this glitch where... why is the safety car out? Why is the safety car out? The race is finished, game. Oh. This will never cease to amaze me. Oh. This, without a doubt, is one of the most screwed races I've ever seen in my commentating career. And I've seen some pretty screwed over races. This is up there. How many laps was it? There were about 6, maybe 7 laps where drivers weren't allowed to race one another. Unbelievable. Better grab this, just in case. We have the gap to leader. Because, yeah, timer goes to 1 and it doesn't move. How great is that? Oh, just unbelievable. And look where the safety car... what's the safety car actually doing? It's caught up to a Ferrari and it's leading a Ferrari. Can we actually do anything? Can I get the final results screen? I mean, this is almost as good as it gets. A gap to leader for everybody, with their penalties applied. How? I can't do anything. I think we're waiting on G4 Zach to cross the line, maybe? Because according to the game, he was several laps down and he still hasn't finished. Is that Roscoe Arm and Keeg? They're all out. What? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness gracious me. See, look, 33, it's Zach. If you don't mind, Zach, if you are watching this, could you leave the session? If you could. There we are. Right, can we get podium celebrations? Something? What are you loading for? Load something. Come on, game. Should have had... We're actually in the menu because we can hear the music. The game's stuck on the loading screen. Can I move anything? No, there's no sound indication of me moving anything. I can't even leave this. You're joking. Oh, Is this not just a brilliant demonstration on how busted this thing is? Like, oh my goodness, thank God. Right. Look, we got a results table. It's amazing. So advanced, Codemasters. Well done. It must be a really advanced final results screen because it took you about 30 seconds to load it. Right, I better get everybody. So I'll scroll up and down, make sure everybody's time is registered. But well done, Oz Formula. Great drive from you, and I contrast this very, very good drive from you too. Plebs P3, his first podium of this season. But, oh my goodness. I really do feel sorry for the drivers and everyone who had to watch this, because it was a poor race. It was some good racing, but it was a poor race, and it wasn't because of the drivers. It wasn't because of the tough conditions. It wasn't even because of the circuit. Everybody knows that Barcelona, it's a boring racetrack. Tough to follow, difficult to pass. It wasn't even that. It was because this game is so busted. It has been for the past 3 years. We had glitches reappear from previous games. I thought they were gone. They're not gone. It just boggles me that Codemasters and Electronic Arts can look at this thing and give it their stamp of approval and sell it to people. How? I remember when I purchased this game for the very first time and I played it. I played it without updating it, just to see what it was like. And it was quite literally unplayable. Like, the fact that this has got an F1 logo, this is supposed to be a virtual interpretation of the pinnacle of motor racing. And it makes it look like a complete joke. How can anybody be satisfied with this? Oh, just boggles me. And I understand that we have this COVID thing that has ground the world to a halt. But there are bugs that were fixed in previous games that reappear in this one. How is that possible? Anyway. Let's end this on a positive note. The drivers who survived, well done. I'm sure a lot of you aren't impressed with what happened, but you got through it. So well done. Because that would have been quite frustrating to get through. And hopefully we can look forward to a good race. Hopefully we won't have any of these bugs reappear next week. Hopefully. We didn't see this in Pacific Tier 1. We didn't see this in America's series. So I am hopeful. I am optimistic, but I can only be so optimistic, I suppose. My God. Anyway. I guess with the race finally over, it's time for us to end the stream. Tune in next Tuesday as the Pacific Series starts up again for round 3. But for the Elite Series, we'll have to wait until next week. Until then, I've been Lane Everingham. Thank you all so much for watching, and we'll see you for round 3 at Bahrain International Circuit for the Bahrain Grand Prix. Until then, good night.